Are you still running a paper-based practice, but dreaming of a life where your business runs smoothly, even if you're not in the office? Maybe you don't want to be fully virtual, but you do want more freedom, fewer bottlenecks, and a practice that can grow without consuming your life. Hi, I'm Jamie Gruel, and I'm excited to share with you this training today because we're going to talk about how you can go from 100% paper to 100% virtual, or as virtual as you want, in just 24 months. If we haven't had the chance to meet yet, I'm Jamie Gruel, and after helping over 500 tax and accounting practices implement automation with TaxDome, I can confidently say that automation is the only way to increase your profit and time freedom in your practice. Now, this is the exact roadmap that our clients have been using to reclaim their time, modernize their practices, and build a business that supports their life, not the other way around. Now, the real barrier here isn't the software. It's actually the belief that your clients and your team can adapt to this different way of working. Now, recently, a client said to me, even when my clients are coming into the office, all I'm doing is scanning in their documents and then handing them right back to them. And she said that's exactly what they could have done at home thanks to the TaxDome mobile app that they have. They just don't think that they can do it. And she's right, because your clients need to be taught how to work with you virtually. Now, here's the magical shift you need to understand. If you start building for the practice that you had, you are going to stay stuck where you are at. But if you start building for the practice that you want, you can start creating more profit, more flexibility, and more freedom. So our goal here is to help you get systems in place that allow you in year one to operate your practice for paper and virtual side by side. We don't want you to have to figure this out on your own. So I'm going to show you today a plan that I put together for you that will outline exactly what to do in year one, year two, and beyond. Because this is where the magic happens. So I put together a little plan for you, and you're going to find this document below the video here. And the intention is just to give you a pathway, a map, a roadmap, so that you can get from point A, where you're at today, to the dream life and practice that you want. Now, I had a conversation recently with a gentleman named Dwayne, and it was a very eye-opening conversation for me because Dwayne came to one of our weekly live trainings and he was asking me the question at the end. He said he had this beautiful background and it had lots of palm trees on it. And it was like, I think it even had like ocean waves, like it was a video background. And I said, Dwayne, like you look like you're living in paradise. And he said, not exactly. He's like, that's where I want to live. That's my dream. I want to be able to serve my nearly 1,000 clients while living in Florida. But I live currently in the Northeast where I don't have palm trees. I don't have the ocean. And he said it's always been his dream to be able to serve his clients and take his business to Florida. But he felt tied to his brick and mortar and the services and the way he was delivering to his clients back in his hometown. But he didn't want to just blow up his business because he felt tied to those clients and he wanted to be able to serve them remotely. And I said, let's talk about what this can look like for you because it is absolutely possible for you to create that life in the next 2 years. Because we have had clients that have done this. So I want you to believe that you can do this because we've had many clients do this. We have one client, her name is Chris, and she had a dream of living in France. And she never thought that was possible for her. She lived in the Midwest. She had a brick and mortar. She'd been serving her clients for 20, 30 years, and she didn't see how she could move forward with that. Well, she got TaxDome. She got the workflows for Tax Pro systems. She started implementing that with her clients, and within 2 years, she was applying for her visa in France. She got an apartment in the southern region, the Riviera region, and she now lives there. And she's living her dream, serving her clients back in the Midwest while living her dream life. Like, who doesn't want that? Another client is our client, Betty. She just recently told me, after working with us for several years and implementing the TaxDome system and the workflows for Tax Pro systems, implementing the TaxDome tool and the workflows for Tax Pro systems within the tool, she is now able to make the decision with her husband, who retired a couple years ago, to move down to be closer to her daughter in Florida. So they're leaving the Midwest up in Illinois and they're making the big move down to Florida where she gets to now work poolside and she can work from her laptop and she can live the life that she wants to live. because she made the decision that she wanted a different life. She wanted a different type of practice. So she took the steps to get there. And the plan I'm going to show you today are the exact steps that both Chris and Betty took that I hope Dwayne will take too. But this is my inspiration to you to go and build a practice and a life that you love. So let's talk about step one. So step one is really, you have to define your future. What do you want? Clarify that vision, because if you've been living with the belief that what you're doing is how it always has to be, and that's not what you really want, that is not living. That is called prison. And so I want you to think bigger. I want you to think, what are those things that pull on my heartstrings, and how do I create that? So the first thing is your vision. How virtual do you want to be? Do you have dreams of Chris and moving around the world to live in your dream location? Do you have dreams of moving to be near a family? Do you have dreams of living in Florida year round and escaping the cold winters that you felt tied to your desk because of tax season? What does that look like for you? And do you want to be a hybrid model? Do you want to serve some clients or some services in person? Meaning, like, maybe you do all your tax prep virtually, but you offer your tax planning services in person where you can connect face-to-face with someone. Or maybe you want to go virtual first, where you have people remote in to your calls so you can work from anywhere, because that's how you want to do it. You get to decide. So you need to create that vision. The next thing you need to do is decide on your non-negotiables. How many hours do you want to work? How much income do you feel like you need to be earning? How do you want to serve your clients? Because if you love meeting with your clients, absolutely build that business for yourself. If you don't love meeting with your clients, then find the systems and the processes that you can shift to so that you don't have to meet with your clients. And we have ways where you can go 100% meeting with your clients in person, brick and mortar, or you can also go 100% not meeting with your clients and sending them things like Loom reviews and videos so that you're not having to meet with them face to face. It's all in what you want. And I can tell you, there is a client out there for you that will meet you where you're at. And maybe it's not all the clients you're serving today, but there are clients out there that want what you have to offer in the way in which you want to offer it. So don't let that hold you back. Don't let your current clients' expectations on you hold you back from deciding what your non-negotiables are. That is one of the biggest shifts I made in my own business ownership, is deciding what my non-negotiables were, establishing that for my business, and knowing and holding the belief that I can have what I want in my life, and I don't have to bend to the expectations of others or my assumption of the expectations of others. I think that's a big one. Then you need to set some expectations for yourself, because this is a journey. This is not an overnight change. This is a journey for the next 24 months of steady, strategic, intentional change that is driving you step by step towards that vision that you're creating. Now, you can make it happen faster, but I want you to go into this with the idea that it is 24 months. Because that is going to make sure that your nervous system and your brain don't overload and they don't become dismayed by any setbacks that you encounter along that journey. So let's talk about year one. So year one is you're going to build the foundation. The thing you need to first adopt is a key belief that your new systems, your TaxDome system, your workflows for tax pros system that you're going to get, are going to provide an excellent client experience, even done virtually, that your clients will love, and they will continue to love working with you even in this virtual setting. Okay, you have to believe that, because when you go into it uncertain and not believing that this is going to make it better for your clients, you're going to find your own resistance in implementing the system. And your clients are going to find resistance. And the second one client pushes back, you're going to revert. Okay? So you need to go back to what we did in the first step of having that vision, knowing your non-negotiables, and knowing that what you're doing is for the best for you and for your clients. And when you do that, it makes the process so much easier. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get TaxDome. Why TaxDome? Well, TaxDome is the leading tool in the industry today. It is bar none the one that is innovating the most, listening to their clients, making the changes that allow practices to operate virtually while providing an excellent client experience. It is an all-in-one tool, meaning that you don't have to go and bolt on all these extra tools to perform your service delivery. It will provide you a portal, electronic signatures, payments, organizers, workflows, task management. All of that can be done in the TaxDome system. Now, at Workflows for Tax Pros, we make it easy because we give you done-for-you pipelines for your new lead management, your tax prep, your recurring bookkeeping, and provide you templates for over 20 other pipelines and workflows that you can build into your TaxDome system so that you're not figuring it out. You're not starting from scratch, right? We're going to help you do it. So you're going to implement TaxDome. You're going to get your pipelines and your workflows put into the TaxDome system. Those workflows are your system. That is your operating system. So think of TaxDome as like your computer. And with your computer, it's just a big box, right? But once you implement and put in Windows, the operating system, or your, what is the Apple operating system, OS, the operating system into your Apple, your Mac, those operating systems are necessary to make the plastic box of your computer do the things you want it to do. And that's what we do with Workflows for Tax Pros. We take the box of TaxDome, we give you the operating system that you put in there that gives you the client experience, all the templates, all the operating parts of your business that help you not just build what you've known, but help you think forward. Think forward to a virtual life. That's what we do. You're going to then automate your client-facing tasks. All those digital organizers are going to go out automatically. Your electronic signatures are going to go out. Automated reminders are going to happen for your client. Payment collections, all of those things are going to happen thanks to the system. We're going to also potentially move to asynchronous tax return reviews using our Workflows for Tax Pros return reveal process. Now, this is our process where you actually send a video return review to your clients. That is the first step of the completion of the return so that your clients can get an actual review of what their return resulted in, right? And that return reveal process will help to answer probably 80 to 90% of the questions that you would see come in. Then you can give people the option to meet with you if they need to. Now, you can either go all in on this and say, yes, I want my calendar cleared. I'm going to go all in for everyone getting a return reveal. Or you can offer it as an option for people in the tax season so that your clients can determine how they want this first year to go. Do they want to meet with you in person like they always have? Do they want to meet with you on Zoom, which is a potential? Or do they want this asynchronous review that allows them to have the questions answered that they have around their return, but it doesn't require them to meet with you? It's nice to give your clients a choice. So that can be year one, right? We also need to standardize our tax season. Now this has virtual in here, and I'm actually going to remove this because it's not just virtual that we're standardizing. We're standardizing your tax workflow. I'm talking tax specifically because the compliance piece of tax is a burden for everyone. It is the process and the workflow that is the big nest that a lot of people have in their business that they want to get rid of. They want that out, right? So when we can standardize our tax season, we're going to shift a majority of our returns to virtual delivery because your clients want this. They want this. They're using portals in their doctor's offices, the hospital, the electric company, their hair salon, their favorite spa. All of these places are using portals and electronic interfaces with their service delivery professionals, whatever that is. And so it's not going to be a foreign idea to a majority of the people that you serve. Now, what that does is we want to not only have our virtual delivery, but we need to also standardize the process of paper returns, right? And we can do that right alongside, so they run parallel to each other. Virtual and paper are running right next to each other as they move through our process of completing a return. Because the process for us of preparing the return doesn't change. It just literally is how do we get those documents from the client at the beginning and how do we deliver the documents at the end. But everything in between, we don't want to change that depending on whether it's a virtual practice or a virtual client or a paper client. We need to make sure that we have in our systems a standardized workflow. So what that can look like is in your process, when documents get dropped off by a paper client, so you have paper documents, you want to make sure that you are scanning those in for every client into your electronic document management system. So they get scanned in, the client is operating right through your system, right alongside that, and that gets scanned right in. Now, you also want to be thinking about how you're going to build an excellent virtual client experience. And thanks to TaxDome and Workflows for Tax Pros, we've already done that for you. But what it does is it offers a seamless branded client journey that's going to take them from engagement letter to the actual payment of the return and the signing of the documents and delivery. And that is going to make sure that it is seamless for them. Every single client gets done the same way. And that's going to make a huge difference. Now, I'm going to pop over to my TaxDome real quick, and I'm going to pop into a tax prep pipeline just so you can see this in return, or this return process in real life. So you can see here, these first 5 stages here, these are our client onboarding. Now, this has a paper client document. We are able to treat our virtual clients and our paper clients exactly the same. They run side by side along this pipeline. Now, a pipeline in TaxDome is a workflow. It's the broken down steps of the completion of an actual process. So it's step 1 is the kickoff. We get our engagement letter signed. We get our documents from our client. Everything moves through the pipeline, step by step, making sure that everyone gets treated the same. That is the standardization. Now, whether they're paper or they're virtual, they will move through our completion of the return right alongside each other. And then we again move into treating them differently based on the type of client that they are. If they're a paper client, we prepare a package, we get that signed. They then get dropped back in to our electronic file steps so that we can make sure that everyone is getting treated the exact same. They're going through all of our stuff and no one is falling into a crack because everybody's in one place. That is the magic of TaxDome. That is the magic of these workflows. So we can assign out work automatically. We can communicate with our clients automatically, giving them status updates. So many things are happening within this workflow that it's going to transform the way in which you operate. So that is the setup of your operating system. We need to then think about, what are we going to do with these paper clients? Year 1, you're probably going to make the decision that you're going to continue the paper services for those reluctant clients. But I want you to be thinking about, how can I train them forward? How can I train them toward the portal for next year? And so the way that we can do that is through a client communication plan. So it's going to start with a client communication plan that is going to go to all of your clients. So when you make the determination that you're going to implement this, you're going to start shifting towards a virtual model, you need to create a client communication plan that will prepare your clients for this new portal and the new virtual service delivery. You need to tell your clients why this is a benefit to them. And I recommend sending 3 to 4 emails before tax season starts. So in November, maybe you have an early November email, an early December, a late December, and then an early January email that are all queued up to prepare your clients for the use of this new portal. And it's going to tell them why it's great for them. No more driving across town, no more sending in your papers at the expense of postage that is out there these days. And so that's going to make sure that your clients are prepared for this change. Now, when it comes to your slow adopters, this can depend on your practice and the people in which you serve, but most of our clients have seen about 60 to 70% convert immediately. But heck yeah, this is great. The ones that don't, the slow adopters, the people that maybe are reluctant, hesitant, that's usually because they're uncertain. So what we recommend is that at document drop-off and or the signings, you use some scripts with your front desk staff or yourself, and you just take 5 minutes to teach your client how easy scanning and uploading documents using the TaxDome mobile app can be. You just pull out their mobile device, you say, hey, I see you have an iPhone. Can I show you how quick and easy it is to use the TaxDome mobile app? I promise it'll be quick. You set them up. They should have, if you don't have their email address, you grab that, you set them up with an account, you get them into the system, you have them download it right there. You say, hey, here's how you log in. You get them all set up. and you show them how easy it is to use. Because oftentimes it's just that little hurdle of getting it set up that makes all the difference. And so that investment at the drop off or the pickup is going to increase your adoption for next year. So we have some quick wins that happen in year one. You're going to convert 60 to 70% of your clients in year one. It's going to be an immense amount of paper that's no longer coming into your office. It's going to be improved communication channels with your clients. It's going to be great. You're going to work more efficiently as a team. We typically see just with the tax prep workflow that people are saving between 5 and 10 hours a week per person, because they're not answering silly questions. They're not having to hunt things down. Everything is in one place. The systems and the workflows that I showed you from TaxDome are actually transforming the way in which they run. They're no longer inefficient in the gathering of data or communicating with each other. Big game changer. And you're going to reduce the inbound, where's my return questions by 75% with these automated status updates that are included in the TaxDome system. The workflows that we have set up with Workflows for Tax Pros are set up specifically to communicate status updates and make sure that your clients always know where they're at in the process, so that they're not contacting you with a phone call of, hey, did you get my stuff? Where are we at? What's next? They know exactly what's next. Now let's talk about year two, because year two, the goal is that we're going to push more consistently towards virtual. That is going to be our default experience. So your intentions here is, again, to reduce paper. We want to get 80 to 90% of our clients on the portal. Now, we started setting ourselves up for success on that with year one, and we need to make sure that we're deciding that we want to continue this push towards virtual. We want to continue the push towards our dream practice, and that is going to happen by just the continued communications and the continued decisions that we make as business owners. So, a decision you might want to make. Will you start charging an additional fee for paper? That can help push some of those people that are wanting to just keep doing it the way that you've always done it to virtual. Or you can make the decision that you're going to discontinue it completely, right? If someone doesn't want to convert to paper or from paper to virtual, then you can decide that they're not the right fit anymore. And that's okay. And so you can release them as clients and let them go to the person down the street who loves serving in person, that wants to stay in your small town, that wants to be here as a brick and mortar and loves serving these people face to face. Let them go to that person so they can be served fully, and you can go and realize your dreams and your vision. You need to start protecting your time. So if you have been offering still the choice of meeting in person to do return reviews, or you are continuing with Zoom reviews just because that's what your clients have always known, what if you let that go completely and you moved entirely to the return reveal process? Doesn't mean you can't still meet with your clients if they need to after they've watched that, but what if you answered 60 to 80, or probably more than that, 70 to 80, 90% of the questions that they have with that very brief review video, and you don't have to meet with those people in person. And you're freeing up your calendar to actually work during business hours. What a game changer, right? The next thing you want to do in year two is refine your processes. You've now cut your teeth. You've implemented your system. You've gone through the learning curve. You've gone through a tax season. You saw where the sticky points were. It's time for you to learn from that last year and improve your processes, improve your workflows. Maybe you need to refine your communication. Maybe there were some sticky points in there. Maybe your document gathering, some of the details weren't clear for your clients, therefore you were having to ask the same thing again and again. We can, from our learnings, ensure that we are getting what we need from our clients by refining and optimizing. There might even be some like team assignment, task assignment stuff. We need to reconfigure how we're doing that. Maybe we need to change our roles a little bit, make things a little bit smoother in handoffs. That can all be part of that optimization. And then the final one is, if you haven't done it already and you've been in business for a while, maybe it's time for you to tackle that document storage room and convert all of those paper files into digital files. Now, there are services out there that will come in and they will scan everything in for you and also come in and then shred everything. You get to choose what that looks like, but opening up that physical space, you may find that you can downgrade your office space depending on how many documents and records, years of records you have back there. But that digitization of the document management system can actually save you a lot of money on physical rental space. So if you haven't already done that, definitely something to consider. Now, let's talk about year 2 and beyond, because year 2 is really just about making the decision that I am going to continue this path forward to a fully virtual practice. It is not one where there's a lot of more implementation being done. You may be implementing new workflows and saying, hey, we can also automate this and we can also put this into our TaxDome system, but those are all just about efficiencies and optimizations. At this point, it is really just about the continued path towards that full vision. Year 2 and beyond is scaling with freedom. This is where you're going to continue to revisit your vision year after year. Are we ready to scale? Do we want to stay lean? Should we add new services? The next one is you get to actually decide, am I working from my desired location? Am I able now, 24, 36 months, am I able now to make the decision that I can move? I can actually go and work from the beach in Florida. I can actually go and sit poolside while I'm doing tax returns. This is where you get to make your life the priority over your business without compromising your client experience, because you have spent the last 2 to 3 years actually transitioning your clients to this new way of working with you. And there's also optional expansion. You can start doing new pricing models. You can have more marketing pipelines. You can do all of these scaling things without additional stress because you have a virtual, repeatable process that is probably giving you a lot more capacity. And this is going to change the future of your business. So the one thing I hope that you take away from this training that we've just gone through is that you're not building for the practice that you had. You are now building for the practice that you want. And if you are ready for that, you're not sure how to do that, or you've been inspired by this pathway that I have laid out here for you, this is what we teach in Workflows for Tax Pros, because we want our clients to know that what they have built to today is not what they have to be stuck with for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They can make the change now by taking some very thoughtful, progressive steps towards the vision of the practice that they want, that provides the life that they want. And if you're interested in learning more, you can check below this video where we're going to have a link out to a 15-minute training where we walk through who we are at Workflows for Tax Pros, what we do, and give you the ideas around how you can take the tool of TaxDome and implement the systems that actually make it perform the way in which you want it to perform. But the big thing here is I hope that you start seeing the potential in your practice to create the life that you love. No longer do we have to work from where we are today. We have flexibility in our choices. We have opportunities by implementing technology. And when we can start thinking with a bigger, bolder vision for our lives, we can actually start achieving it. So this pathway forward and this 2-year plan that I've laid out are the first steps of going there. And if you have any questions, please comment below the video. I'm glad to answer those for you. And until we meet again, I'm Jamie Gruel, and I help small practices implement TaxDome using our methods we've created in Workflows for Tax Pros. And if we can be of any assistance to you, we would love to help you create the life and the practice that you love. Until we see you again, have a great day.